Ooh, last game in charge of Liverpool. Oh, and here is John. He'll be happy. He'll be really happy. Hi, John. I bet you're looking forward to this. My last match in charge, Champions League Final. How are you feeling?
Nervous. You've bottled all the cups so far this season. And it's City.
Come on, John. You can be more positive than that. Look, Man City, they didn't even qualify for the Champions League through their Premier League performance this year, so they're not a top four team and we're the champions. We beat them twice in the league season off the back of the Community Shield. Pretty much they're a one-man team. As long as we keep Erling Haaland quiet, I think we should be fine.
You're actually right for once. Thanks for your work, jackass. Let's hope Jurgen has learned a few tricks from you.
Thanks, John. It's been an absolute pleasure. Let's bring home number 7 in Istanbul. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 16 of Quadruple or Nothing here with Liverpool on the FM23 Beta on Shaun Does FM. I hope you are doing well, and coming up today is the final episode of this beta save as we do take on Manchester City in the final of the Champions League. So if you are looking forward to this one, which will also include the end of season review, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel or have enjoyed this series on the channel, then also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well so you do not miss out on any more FM23 Let's Play series once the full game does come out early next week here on the channel. And that will be starting off with a save which is called FMOE, a British Oz journeyman, and I think we're going to start that one off in Northern Ireland based on the community vote that we have had running on the channel over the past couple of days. But we've made our way through to this Champions League final off the back of beating Napoli in the semis yesterday. If you missed that episode, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. Just before we do preview this Champions League final, a quick recap of the last few games from the Premier League season. Of course, we did already pick up the Premier League prior to playing the first leg of that semi-final. In yesterday's episode, we had 2 games to finish off the season. We picked up a 2-0 win away at Fulham with goals there to Jordan Henderson and Roberto Firmino. Another really good goal, that one too, from Jordan Henderson. He's found some good form late in the season if we do need to use him in this Champions League final off of the bench. And that meant we only needed 1 point from our last game to beat the Premier League points record, which was set by Manchester City. And we did it, albeit somewhat scrappily, with a 1-1 draw at home against Southampton. We did open the scoring early, and from there Southampton really dominated most of the first half. We got back on top in the second half, and somehow it only ended up being a 1-1 draw, which is slightly concerning because, as you can see, we did put out quite a strong team for that game a couple of weeks prior to this Champions League final. But it does mean we did end up breaking the Premier League points record with that 1 point from that game. We end the season on 101 points, 19 points clear of Arsenal, and Southampton hold on for third spot as well as winning the FA Cup. They will be in the Champions League next season, and Man United do round out the top 4. That does mean if Man City want to be playing Champions League football next season, they do need to win this Champions League final that we do have coming up today, because at the moment they are in the Europa League alongside Wolves and West Ham. That is because they won the Conference League, and Leeds United have beaten the likes of Chelsea and Brentford into that Conference League qualifying spot. So that is how the Premier League season did finish in the end. Very, very comfortable season for us off the back of getting off to an absolutely flying start. As you can see, Darwin Núñez there was second in the top goal scorer race, 5 goals behind Erling Haaland, of course, a key player for Manchester City in this upcoming Champions League final. And Mo Salah finished, I think, 4th on that list, in behind Cristiano Ronaldo. He shot up the table a little bit late. In fact, he was 5th equal alongside Harry Kane, with Raul Jimenez also overtaking him late in terms of overall goal scoring. But Mo Salah did have the highest average rating, and just below him was Darwin Núñez. Trent Alexander-Arnold was up there in terms of the most assists. Player of the matches, Mo Salah and Erling Haaland did tie that with 8. Luis Diaz picked up 6 as well, and in terms of clean sheets, we did have one of the better goalkeepers in the Premier League this season. Alisson, alongside Ramsdale and Bazunu, were tied for that Golden Glove awards. There is a recap of the Premier League season. We pick it up very, very comfortably, as you knew from the start of yesterday's episode, and we are taking on Manchester City in this Champions League final. We have beaten them both times we've played them in the Premier League this season, albeit we did lose to them all the way back in our first game of the series in the Community Shield. These days they are managed by Ernesto Valverde. We did beat Man City just after he did take charge 5-1 at Anfield. So that is the most recent outing between these two teams. Hopefully we can pick up a similar type of result today and finish the save on a high, picking up a double. Obviously not the quadruple that we were after, but still Premier League and Champions League, it does kind of make it a 2-year quadruple, even though that is definitely not how these things work. But obviously they're a squad full of really, really good players here at Manchester City, most notably Erling Haaland up front, also the likes of De Bruyne in the midfield, Ruben Dias at the back, Ederson in goal. It's a very, very strong team, and this should be a very, very good Champions League final, albeit off the back of their domestic form this season. Maybe we're the favourites going into this one, as you would expect, of course, off the back of breaking their points record in this past Premier League season. In terms of us going in to this Champions League final, most of our players are available, albeit some of them have picked up training injury knocks leading into this final. The most notable is Mohamed Salah. He is just about right to play in this game, so we are going to risk him and start him. So that does mean our starting 11 is unchanged and it's at full strength for this final. The one change on the bench that we didn't really want to make is Kostas Tsimikas. He is out for 7 more days. He picked up quite a serious injury in training a couple of weeks ago with a twisted ankle. Is not recommended to feature in this game, so he is not going to take his place on the bench. That does mean that James Milner is one of our wing-back cover alongside Joe Gomez, but apart from that, it's exactly the squad we want to be putting out for this Champions League final, and we're going to come back shortly with the team sheets and soak in the final atmosphere from Istanbul as Liverpool take on Manchester City in the Champions League final. And here are the team sheets for this final. There we are, as we ran through before. In terms of Manchester City, I can tell you that both John Stones and Riyad Mahrez are out with injuries, so that could potentially work in our favour. It does look like they are missing a few more first-teamers than we are, so hopefully we make the most of that and can pick up this Champions League to go alongside that Premier League title. But now it's time to soak in the atmosphere, and let's try and win this Champions League and make it a double. And it takes only 5 minutes for us to get the first highlight in this year's Champions League final. A throw-in right on the halfway line. We do play this back to our defensive unit, start to get it up to Jude Bellingham. And now Luis Diaz does have the ball out there on the left-hand side, but unfortunately does lose it. And this might give City here a potential chance to get something going somewhat on the counter-attack. They are now up around the halfway line. Some good short passing already. Kevin De Bruyne does try and find their left winger out there, but it was well blocked. I think that was from Virgil van Dijk, and now we might get a chance here to do something on the counter-attack, albeit Mo Salah can't quite link up there with Darwin Núñez. Now Kyle Walker finds himself in a lot of space there down City's right-hand side, puts a ball into the mixer. Erling Haaland with his 52nd goal of the season. That is not the start we wanted here in Istanbul, and this might be an interesting day at the office for us. Nice ball out there from Phil Foden. Kyle Walker was in a ton of space and Erling Haaland was too big there. I think that is for Joel Matip. Puts the ball in the bottom right corner and makes it 1-0 City. And only a few minutes off the back of that opening goal, we do have a free kick here as we hope to strike back fairly shortly off the back of conceding that opening goal. We nearly pick out Darwin Núñez there with a long ball forward, but Ederson gets that ball headed back to him and takes his time here as he pumps this one deep. Virgil wins that ball in the end. Now Thiago, nice ball over for Darwin Núñez. That's a great chance, but unfortunately the shot is straight at Ederson, and coming up to the 10-minute mark, still 1-0 City. And 15 minutes into this final, we do have a throw-in here right around the final third of our opposition, and Mo Salah there starts to get on the attack and starts to cut in field. Might get a chance to get off a shot. It's a good effort, but just goes wide, and we still trail by a goal to nil. And just off the back of us adjusting a few opposition instructions, we have had a highlight start here. We're starting to work our way back into this game off the back of that rough start where Erling Haaland did open the scoring, and Trent has picked up a yellow card. Now, nice ball there for Darwin Núñez. Might have to square this for a teammate, although takes a shot on. It comes right off the head of Ederson. It's a Falcon goal, and we will absolutely take that. That almost came out of nowhere. And 15 minutes shy of half time, we do grab an equaliser. Nice ball there from Trent for Darwin Núñez still had a lot of work to do, but takes on the shot himself, and that smacks Ederson right in the face, it looks like, and still finds its way in the back of the net. 1-1 here just past the half-hour mark. And that is half-time in this season's Champions League Final, 1-1 with a goal to either of the big strikers up front. Thiago did pick up a knock late in that first half, so I think we're going to have to take him off here at half-time, but we are just edging things stats-wise, so hopefully we can build on that throughout the second half. Jordan Henderson will come on for Thiago in some good form recently, and Jude Bellingham can move into that Mazzala role for the second half, and hopefully we can improve just a little bit on that first half performance and bring home this Champions League title. 1-1 as we kick off the second half. And only a few minutes into the second half, we start off here with a corner to Man City, which Darwin Núñez does head away. It's a little bit threatening there now. Bernardo with a long shot. It does just clip the top of the crossbar, so that's the first chance of the second half. Robbo has also picked up an early yellow card, and it is still locked up at 1-1. And up to the hour mark, I think we're going to make a few more substitutions at this time. Mo Salah on that slight injury on a 6.3. I think we're going to risk it a bit here and take him off for Harvey Elliott. Also, Luis Diaz only going okay. Diogo Jota in good form can also come on for him. And we're still locked up with a half hour left. And we've just entered the last 20 minutes of this game. As you can see, Man City are well on top of us here in terms of stats, but we are doing quite well to keep this even. I think to play things safe, though, with our last few substitutions of normal time, we're going to take off both our wing-backs on yellow cards. That means that Thuram will come on for Trent, Fabinho can play at right back, and Joe Gomez will come on for Robbo. That means that those guys can get stuck in a little bit more to tackles, and hopefully we can break through here in these last 20 minutes. Still 1-1. And we're just about to enter the last 10 minutes of this season's Champions League Final. We do have a throw in here for Man City, albeit deep inside their own half. João Cancelo on a yellow card starts to make his way towards the halfway line. You will notice Jordan Henderson, fresh on the pitch, has also picked up a yellow card. They try and play a ball over the top there, but it is blocked by one of our defenders. Now Ruben Diaz is on the ball here for Man City, plays that one for Gundogan, and Erling Haaland tries to get past Joel Matip, but he does a big finger wag and almost goes on a bit of an adventure, albeit plays that one over to Virgil van Dijk, and indeed it's actually Joe Gomez here going on an adventure. We'll play this ball up for Darwin Núñez. Now Harvey Elliott, what can he do on for Mo Salah? Plays this over for Diogo Jota, puts the ball into the mixer. Darwin Núñez will sweep that home. The big Uruguayan gets a double, his 41st goal overall for the season. For my money, he has been the player of the save, and we have a lead in the Champions League Final with just over 10 minutes left, and that is a bit surprising looking at those stats that we did see before that most recent couple of substitutions. Darwin Núñez there sweeps that home from very, very close range right off the back of that. We are going to time waste a little bit. We'll tell the boys to start to time waste a little bit, be more disciplined. And while we are here, I think we'll also regroup instead of counter press and tell the goalkeeper to slow the pace down. And hopefully that works here in these last 10 minutes with a 1-goal lead. And a few minutes from full time, Man City do have a corner here, so dangerous times. They put that one far post, and Rodrigo just puts that over the bar. Those far post corners and set pieces do seem a bit OP this year. Now Kevin De Bruyne with a free kick, but Virgil van Dijk is going to deal with that. We've got 1 minute of regular time left and 4 minutes of added on time, and hopefully we just hold the ball here nicely and hopefully see out this final. Diogo Jota plays that ball to Thuram. Some of our substitutes quite influential in that potentially game-winning goal, albeit Jude Bellingham there with a poor giveaway, albeit they try and play a ball over the top there. Do Man City, and Joe Gomez will tidy things up. Yet again, Jude Bellingham, a bit sloppy in position, gives the ball to Erling Haaland, maybe thinks he's still playing for Borussia Dortmund. Good chance there. I think that was for Kevin De Bruyne, but thankfully hits that right into the path of Alisson, and hopefully that is the final chance for City in this final. Harvey Elliott makes his way inside the City box. We try and get something going there inside the box, but we are now deep in injury time. I think that will do it. Man City, probably the better team in that final. We've got the music, albeit now it's cut out for some reason. Not too sure what's happened there. I think that also happened in yesterday's episode for some reason, so maybe my game glitching out a little bit, but that looks really nice, doesn't it? That podium for the Champions League, and thankfully it is Liverpool up there instead of Manchester City, which no doubt all of the fans will appreciate, because let's face it, Man City have no fans, and we do pick up the title here a little bit scrappily in that Champions League final, but we beat them 2-1 thanks to a double to, as I said, for my money, the player of the save in Darwin Núñez, and we pick up a Champions League to go alongside our Premier League title. We beat them 2-1 in the final. And we are back in the inbox off the back of picking up the Champions League, so it's a nice way to end the save, as we saw. Quite a nice presentation as well, albeit not too sure why the music did just cut out early there a little bit. As I said, I think that also happened before the second leg of that tie against Napoli yesterday, so maybe my game just starting to glitch out a little bit in this beta phase. But there are the post-game emails, as you can see, quite similar to what happened last season. The reason we are coming back is because we do see the medals for the Champions League win and can also see the players who had the highest rating. Darwin Núñez, clearly our best performer in the Champions League. In the Premier League, it was Mo Salah, but here it is Darwin Núñez. Those two definitely in competition to be the player of the season when we do have our end of season review coming up shortly. But in the Champions League, 9 appearances, 10 goals and 2 assists does mean that Darwin Núñez did have the highest rating, followed not too far behind by Mo Salah with those 6 goals and 3 assists. But to be fair, the post-match stuff looks pretty similar to what it did even with that new licensing, which is in the game. We get a bucket load of money, and we'll come back shortly, do our end of season review to wrap up the save. And we have gone forward a few clicks, and here is the end of season review for this one season save here at Liverpool. In terms of the transfers, the signing of the season, Jude Bellingham, which is not too surprising, albeit with the fee which we did pay, I thought that might bring down that grade a little bit, but still an A+ rating, a 7.25 average with 7 goals and 11 assists. Also, Kefram Turam, I thought did quite well when we did use him once we did sign him in January. Darwin Núñez, if we signed him, I think probably would have beaten Jude Bellingham for that award, but because we didn't sign him, I think he wasn't actually up for it. And the other player that we did sign, of course, was Samir Handanovic. In the end, didn't actually make an appearance for the club, seeing as Alisson and Kelleher did recover from their injuries in time for the start of the season, but I thought was a bit of a better third stringer if we did get injuries than Adrian was. And in terms of transfers out, the ones that we made, if we make our way down a little bit, Naby Keita to Tottenham, the board not happy with that sale, and to be fair, the fans weren't either, but I think it's fair to say Jude Bellingham ended up doing a very, very good job in his place. We also sold Adrian to Leicester. To be fair, as I said, getting Handanovic in for him, I think was a good bit of business, and that was pretty much the only first team sales that we did make in this save. And there's some players who were loaned out. The results, the Premier League, absolutely superb. As we mentioned earlier, wiped the floor with pretty much everyone in the Prem this season, apart from Wolves. And to be fair, they have Europa League football this season, the only team we have not beaten in this save. The Champions League as well, we did a good job here, not losing a single game, and we won that final 2-1 over Manchester City. The FA Cup was the big disappointment. We got knocked out in the quarterfinals by a Chelsea team who in the end failed to make Europe off the back of a rocky start. So that was a bit disappointing. And as well as that, we did lose the Carabao Cup final, albeit that was to an Arsenal team who kept the pressure on just a little bit in the Premier League this season, but not really enough for us to ever feel in doubt of picking up that Premier League title. And also right at the start of the save, the FA Community Shield, we did get beaten fairly comfortably by Manchester City 2-0, but in the end we do get the last laugh off the back of that 2-1 win in that Champions League final. The moments to remember, the biggest win was in the Premier League, 12-0 against Crystal Palace, back when Patrick Vieira was in charge. Not too long off the back of that, Alan Pardew did take over the match. To remember also in the Premier League, a 7-0 win at home against Chelsea. I think that's a game we might have actually done on camera. And the goal of the season, which we are going to show you guys, was away against Brentford, and it was scored by, of all people, James Milner. The goal took place very close to full time in this one. Mo Salah tried to put a ball into the mixer. It was cleared out, and Milner from a long way out just rocketed that one into the top left corner. And probably fair enough, that does get our goal of the season, albeit there were quite a few other good goals that we did score during this save. But James Milner picks up the goal of the season. Did a good job for us when he was called upon around that busy Christmas period, as well as when we were in the knockouts of the Champions League. The finances, everything here is good, and also our reputation has gone up by a half star. The biggest shirt sellers, Salah, Bellingham, Darwin Núñez, Diaz, and Roberto Firmino. The best 11 for this season, actually looks correct this year, which is quite nice because last year in our Build a Nation save, the screen always seemed to glitch out. So our best 11 is Alisson in goal, the back four Robertson, Kanate over Matip, Van Dijk, and Trent Alexander-Arnold the midfield, as you expect with Fabinho, Thiago, and new signing Jude Bellingham, and as well as that our front three, also as expected, Luis Diaz, Mo Salah, and Darwin Núñez, and it does look like Mo Salah might just have the slightly higher average rating for this season. He was involved in 42 goals, Darwin Núñez in 46, so it's going to be interesting to see which of those two players does get the award, but the player of the season does go to Mo Salah, and Darwin Núñez picks up the young player of the season. We saw the signing of the season and goal of the season before. Top goal scorer was Darwin with 41, Trent the most assists with 17, the most player of the matches went to Darwin with 11, the highest average rating Mo Salah, and the most passes per 90 went to Virgil van Dijk. The competition awards, Alisson picked up the FIFA Best Men's Goalkeeper, Premier League Golden Glove. The English Player of the Year went to Jordan Henderson. The English Footballer of the Year and Players Player of the Year went to Mo Salah, as well as the award for the best player in Europe. The record breakers, most goal by a player in a match, was Mo Salah with 4. Trent breaks the record for the most assists by a player in a season, as does Alisson for the most clean sheets, and Darwin Núñez for the most player of the matches. Worst discipline by a Liverpool player ever, apparently. Fabinho with 10 yellow cards and a red card, and also the highest transfer fee paid. As you would expect, that £103 million transfer for Jude Bellingham, and that could rise up to £111 million. And as you can see, around about my head, we also picked up quite a few Manager of the Month awards for the Premier League, and it was a very, very good season, albeit not quite as good as we were hoping for, of course, trying to win that quadruple. The biggest disappointment, as I said, probably that loss to Chelsea in the FA Cup quarterfinals. And now one of the new features in this year's game, which is the main reason we are doing this end of season review, it is the dynamic manager timeline. No doubt this is going to be a little bit underwhelming in a one season save, but hopefully you can see the potential this does have when you do quite long saves, especially journeyman type saves, which you are going to do once the full game does come out. Our British Isles journeyman, which is going to be called FMOE. There you can see we did get hired on the 27th of June, set a new transfer record on the 1st of September. A few items there with that signing of Jude Bellingham. Alisson won the FIFA Best Men's Goalkeeper award at some stage before the start of the new year. Apparently, Liverpool entered uncharted territory when we did qualify for the Champions League. That seems a little bit weird, so maybe that's something that should be cut out of this one, because Liverpool quite regularly qualifying for the Champions League. But we did pick up the Premier League this season. We can hit the play button now. We also broke the record for the most points in a season with 101. Also, Alisson picked up the Golden Glove. Mo Salah, the English Footballer of the Year, as well as the Players Player of the Year. And to finish things off, of course, we did pick up the 2022 Champions League, as you can see, no doubt in multi-year saves. That will be a lot more interesting than it was for that one season save, but certainly something cool that we can chuck in at the end of our yearly end of season review videos on FM23. And that will pretty much do it for the save here for the FM23 Beta. Hopefully you guys did enjoy it, even though we did not pick up the quadruple like we were hoping, but a pretty good double there with the Premier League and the Champions League. As I said, we'll come back when the game does get released fully at some stage next week, and we will start off our FMOE save with a job hunt. Now, I do think we're going to start off that save with a job in Northern Ireland, especially based on the poll currently over on the community tab. If you want to vote on that, then do go over there and get involved. But at the moment, Northern Ireland, quite heavily favoured by you guys to be the place where we do look for our first job. But that will do it for Quadruple or Nothing with Liverpool. If you did enjoy this series, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video. And if you haven't done so already and have enjoyed this one, then also hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on, especially so you get informed when we do start the Journeyman save once the full game does come out. I was planning on doing some Wonder Kid videos in between now and then, but unfortunately, the program I am trying to use to get those CA and PA ratings for players has stopped working, so we might have to delay that a little bit until the full game does come out. But we will be back for the start of FMOE in a couple of days' time. So until then, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.